Second idea, which I want to suggest is really crucially important and has the potential for real transformative impact, is that adult development is possible. Now, this is not new to any of us in the integral world, but it is new to the vast majority of people in the community and in professional communities, including communities which should know this, like psychologists, psychiatrists. For the most part, there's this implicit assumption in our culture that development pretty much stops around the time the body stops developing. And that is a real tragedy. And the idea that psychological development and spiritual development, of course, can continue beyond the conventional level to post-conventional and even trans-conventional levels has enormous implications. And two of them are particularly important. One of them is that what we call normality is not the ceiling of developmental possibilities, that we can mature beyond what we thought was possible, that there are further levels of developmental maturation that are available to us all. There are capacities and virtues available to us all if we simply cultivate them appropriately. And what we have taken to be normality is looking more and more like an unrecognized collective form of collective developmental arrest. We have been suffering from a case of unrecognized collective developmental arrest. And this has enormous implications for us, for each of us individually, for us as a society, and for our planet as a whole. And it's quite possible that the recognition that we can mature further is going to be absolutely essential to our survival and sanity as a species. Abraham Maslow said it well. He said, what we call normal in psychology is really a psychopathology of the average. But it is so undramatic and so widely spread that we don't even recognize it. So here's the first implication of the idea that we can mature beyond conventional levels. But there's a further one, and that is that many of our contemporary cultural conflicts are expressions of different levels of development. And the conflict over many social and moral issues such as abortion or religious freedom can be seen as conflicts between people at different levels of development. And particularly at the current time, our cultures are being torn by conflict between three major developmental levels: between a pre-conventional level or a mythic level, between conventional rational people, and people moving into post-conventional stages who are calling the traditional conventions into question. And so many of the conflicts in our world, particularly, for example, conflict with religious fundamentalism, can be seen as expressions of these conflicts, can be seen as expressions of these different developmental levels. But the trouble is, when the different levels aren't recognized, then there's virtually no possibility of resolution and peace between people, because they simply assume that people who disagree with them are either wrong or disturbed or deranged. So this recognition of development has enormous social implications for us. So that's the second idea I'd suggest is really crucial. That we recognize that adult development is possible and the implications it has for our understanding of many social issues.